to Inside Southeastern Sports. I'm Jay Lindly, joined by the head women's basketball coach, Coach Darin. Coach, let's begin with the games last week. Of course, going into that week, had lost back-to-back home games, had lost 3 in a row. We talked about the importance of getting back on the right track, especially against a team like Oklahoma Baptist, who's at the bottom of the standings. But to not only get back on track with a win over them, but to also get a win over a team that was tied with you guys for first in the conference. Is a pretty good week for women's basketball at Southeastern.
You go 2-0, and I don't care how you do it. It's a good week. Starting with Oklahoma Baptist, we shot well. I mean, we really shot the 3 well, which is something that we hadn't done in those 3 previous games. We put a lot of time into it. We always put a lot of time into shooting, but I put even more practice time into it the week leading up. And that's a win on the road, and I don't care if somebody's at the bottom of the league or the top of the league. Road wins are tough to get. Southern Nazarene, we knew that was going to be tough. Just a great defensive team and a team that's at the top of the conference with us, and so we knew that was going to be a tough one.
Now, you joked at the end of the Oklahoma Baptist broadcast. You guys go out, you talk about shooting well, 17 3-pointers, a new season high, and made threes. You said, whenever shots start going down, all of a sudden I'm a better coach. But obviously, you did have a little bit on that, putting more into the shooting drills and whatnot during practice last week.
Yeah, of course you can't. So we had 3 days to prepare. So you had 3 times in practice that we maybe put an extra 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there in. Do I put it all into that? No, a lot of it, the kids get credit for coming in extra and put some time in, but they've done that all year long. I don't think any coach knows the secret to why you're hitting shots in particular times in particular games and why you're not. If they did, then they get out of coaching and just be a consultant and make a whole lot more money than what we make. So I don't know why shots fall and why they don't, because I'm telling you, against those 3 games, Henderson State, Harding, and Tech, we had good looks. And we just missed them. Good thing about it was we go on the road to Oklahoma Baptist. We had many of those same looks, and we made them.
Oh, and one of the things that we kind of talked about, confidence. The last 2 games, Cameron Cantwell appears to have regained some of her confidence. Neely Knoll had a big game off of the bench at Oklahoma Baptist. And then Tracy Johnson getting her first starts of the season. Seemed like it helped a little bit, maybe that little tweak in the lineup. Just your thoughts on that? You never know.
You never know whether those tweaks help or not. Tracy's been playing well. She's been shooting well, and I better knock on wood when I say that. And then, as you mentioned, Neely coming in, knocking down shots. And Neely's that way. Many times she'll come in and she's unconscious from the moment that she walks in the game. So I don't know whether the credit goes to tweaking the lineup or not. You never know how kids are going to handle it. But what I do know is this: is that whenever we start that lineup with Tracy, it gives us some different options. Chandler Kemp is not an outside shooter. She's really good in and around the basket. Perhaps having another shooter where we can kind of spread the floor helped in the Oklahoma Baptist game and also with Southern Nazarene.
Of course, kind of get you out here talking a little bit about Katie Webb, and it was quite the weekend for Katie. First on Thursday night, she needed 7 points to move into second on the all-time scoring list. Got that. And then on Saturday, just an unbelievable effort on a putback. A lot of players you see in that situation would go down with the rebound. She volleyballed it right back in. Just your thoughts, one, on the game-winning shot. Is that one of the more exciting finishes you've ever coached?
It really is, and I've coached I've coached 25 years, so there's been quite a few of those finishes. Some that we've made, some that we haven't made. In that particular play, we set a ball screen for Cam, going from left to right. Hayden Williams set it, and she drives baseline, gets Tracy Johnson on a drift. Tracy had a wide open look at it. Unfortunately, she doesn't hit that one. But for Katie to have the presence of mind to know what the clock was and to tip it instead of bringing it down. And I asked her about this. I said, how the heck did you know? She said, I don't know. I just took a peek up at the clock before and just knew that there wasn't going to be enough time to bring it down. That's a lot of presence of mind that she knew to go ahead and do that. One heck of a finish, and I know it was a great finish for the crowd, and it was a fun celebration on the court, and then in the locker room after that. Following that, there was some time left on the clock, 0.3 seconds. Didn't know whether I talked to Katie, said if you miss this shot, if you go and miss the free throw, they rebound it, and even calling timeout, there won't be enough time to even get a shot off. she wasn't confident enough that she could miss it adequately enough. In other words, she thought she might airball it.
Yeah, because you got to hit the rim.
You got to hit the rim. And so she said, "You okay if I just go ahead and make it?" I said, "All right, go ahead and make it." Because even with .3, all they could do was do a volleyball tip in, and it's doubtful they're going to be able to knock down a 3 doing that.
Of course, and in addition to that, she moves into second on the all-time scoring list this week, surpassing one of your former players in Jessica Hocker. Just how big of an accomplishment is that for her, and how big of an accomplishment is it from a team perspective because it is a team award as far as that goes. Yeah, her name's going to be there, but it's the years that she played here that will also be beside that name.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things with that. First off, everybody moving forward in Southeastern history is playing for second place as far as scoring goes. Nobody's going to reach Crystal's records. They're obscene as far as how high they are. Secondly, she took the place of a really good player in Jessica Hocker. In fact, I messaged Jess the story about Katie taking her place. Of course, I'm sure she didn't like that message, but it's reality. And then after that, you mentioned all the players that she's played with and how much time and effort she's put into. I don't know that I've coached very many players that have put that kind of effort in every single day. I mean, she comes in here in the morning every single day, game day, practice day, and puts in about 30 minutes extra time before we ever practice. And I'm talking about 10 o'clock in the morning when no one else is in the gym. She's done all that while also rehabbing injuries. She is the exact example that you want as far as a student athlete, from the classroom to on the court. And a lot of players helped her along the way get those points. I'm just glad that I was lucky enough to be in charge at the time that she was able to do it.
Of course, and you can go see the game-winning shot by going to the Go Southeastern Facebook page. Matter of fact, the courtside view shot there. You can go check that out. Coach Darin Grover, everyone. Coming up, our women's basketball player spotlight on Chandler Kemp. It's after this on Inside Southeastern Sports. Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Sports. Time now for our women's basketball player spotlight, shining on Chandler Kemp. How you doing today, Chan?
I'm doing good. It's just really cold and I don't like it.
The good thing about that, though, is of course, you're Gainesville, Texas. The winters around here typically aren't that bad.
No, they're not.
As far as that goes. Did the snow a week ago, did that kind of surprise you?
I mean, it did, but I just don't like the cold weather, and I definitely don't like the snow. I'm just not. And I was born in winter, and I just don't like it. My mom said I never have.
So whenever the snow hit campus, you weren't out there making miniature snowmen or anything?
No, I turned my heater up to 75. So.
Melted away as much ice as possible. Of course, this basketball season's been kind of unique. You work back from injury. Talk a little bit about that. I know Katie Webb had a similar injury. Did you guys discuss any similarities through rehab or anything like that?
Well, it's actually on the same leg, I'm pretty positive. She did ask a couple questions just because, like, when you get out of surgery, there's, like, a lot of popping and cracking, and, like, you hear a pop, and that's what causes you to tear it, and, like, so we just, like, go back and forth, and I just gave her encouragement, which Katie doesn't need a lot, but, like, it's a tough process, but I think at the end of the day, like, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it again because I think it made me a better player mentally and physically. It gave me a better appreciation of the game because I think at that point I was just kind of cruising through, and then it just really realigned the fire in me of the reason why I wanted to play college basketball. I wanted to be on the court. It was just really eye-opening and humbled me a lot. So.
You have an interest in kinesiology, sports medicine. Having suffered an injury like that, you talk about increasing your interest in being on the basketball court. But going through an injury like that, did it also kind of increase an interest in what's going to be your future career?
Oh, most definitely. It was really cool to watch how, like, once we got past, like, the stationary rehabs where you're going through protocol, once you reach, like, the fifth or sixth month, the trainers just develop, like, new creative ways for you to go out there and cut and not doing the same thing every day, and, like, watching you jump and shoot. It's just really cool to watch them work and just try to push you as far as they can and then pull you back when you need to. I just really like how active they are. The training room did an excellent job, Scott, and then I had Jazz and a couple other people help me, and it was really cool. I really liked it.
What interests you in kinesiology? Obviously had that interest before the injury.
I was actually really interested in psychology, but the more I got to thinking about it, I played basketball all my life. I played since I was I think as long as I can walk. And then the more I got into high school, I played every sport, and I love every sport. I love volleyball, track. I'll go watch anything if you let me. And I just realized that I really want to be a part about that life because, like, I'm always active. I've been active since age 5. Like, I can't imagine just going to a job where I'm not as active as I am my whole life. I just think it'd be more productive for me to be in an environment with athletes and people that have gone through the same problems, and I've been there and I can help them. I think it'd just be a really good program for me to be in.
Now, not everyone has necessarily the stomach for that,
Yeah.
because some of those injuries can be bad. Do any of your teammates, or do they tease you any about? And you have to have, I would think, a pretty tough stomach on some of the injuries you may encounter, or you may have already seen examples of.
They don't really tease me. I do tease some of my teammates. Like, one of them is Neely Knowles. She can't stand seeing anybody throw up or blood. It makes her run for the hills, and I do tease her a lot about that. So they don't really tease me. They do make fun of me because I'm kind of dramatic when I get hurt, which I am, like rolling on the floor and stuff like that. But that's the only time they ever tease me.
So in other words, when I see you rolling around on the floor, it's maybe not as bad as I think it may be.
Oh no, I definitely did a flop last game. I think it was one of the 2 free throws I missed. She had hit me after the fact, and I just literally threw my arms just so I could get the foul. So you can tease me all you want, and you can just be like, oh, she's out there being dramatic again. So
one of the things that's unique is that you're 5'8", and you have to play the forward position. So really, a lot of the scoring you do is inside. How much of a challenge is that for you, and is it kind of a challenge that you relish?
Yeah, I definitely relish. I'm all about the challenges of life, and I think Coach Grover really pushes me towards the challenges because he knows I can handle it. I just kind of got into that role because I told them I'd do whatever I needed to get on the court. So being that small around the post is kind of scary, but I think it's also awe-inspiring to know that I can do, like I did last game, got a layup on a 6'3" post that leads to them blocking. It's challenging, but I just go for it. I really don't think I just do instinctively, and I've always been more of a basket driver, more around the basket. I've never been a three-point shooter or a pull-up. That's just never been me. So I don't know, just is something that I just always know how to do, and I just relish in it. And I feel really proud of myself when I get to go against the basket and against big players and stuff like that.
Now, I'll get you out here on this. Your sister played here at Southeastern. Her career shortened due to injury as far as that goes. Last year, you didn't get to play. She had already kind of signed off on it ending. So this is really your first year of not having her. Granted, she's a couple of years older, but what's that been like, not having her on a bench next to you?
I kind of went through the same thing in high school because we were in the same area. But I think a lot of times when I have my sister on the bench, it's just comforting to see her face because she's very much the calmer one out of us. She'll be like, it's okay, just take a deep breath. Not having her on the bench was kind of sad in a way because I know after high school I thought there was always a chance we could play together because she still has college left, but now there's really not much of a chance. So it was kind of sad and an end of an era, as my dad calls it. But I know that she still is really proud of me, and I know when she comes to the game I can look over and she'll have the same look and do the same, you're okay, calm down. And then I think a lot of my teammates have stepped up and filled that place. I think Katie's really filled that place for me where my sister's been because she's definitely one that can pull me inside and be like, it's okay that you missed one layup, it's okay that you missed one free throw, we need you, just calm down, just go do what you need to do. And she's definitely stepped up and been the sister that I needed when Ariana's not here. So.
Again, talking with Chandler Kemp, our women's basketball player spotlight. Coming up, we move on into men's basketball. We talk with head coach Kelly Green after this on Inside Southeastern Sports. Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Sports. Time now to talk men's basketball with head coach Kelly Green. Coach, coming into this week, first time this season you guys have suffered back-to-back losses and against very good opponents, one on the road, first home loss of the season as well. I know you're big about not necessarily talking to the players directly after, but what would be your message going into this week?
Well, last week we were kind of in control of our destiny, and this week we're still in control of our postseason destiny, but not so much the conference championship race destiny now, and so we've got to have a little help. But we can't worry about that as much as we've got to figure out a way to win a couple of these close games.
And, of course, both of those games, the margin of defeat, a combined 4 points, one in Oklahoma Baptist. You take a lead late, great shot by Tori Everett. They come down, able to get a shot off just in the nick of time. And then, of course, against Southern Nazarene, had a lead there. A couple of turnovers kind of bite you at the end there. And then, of course, they hit that shot. Had an opportunity, though. Just your overall thoughts, that Southern Nazarene game in particular. I said this on the broadcast a few times. If you just look at the stat sheet, someone's going to go, oh, no one played defense in that game. I thought that it may have been the best offense-defense game I've seen this season. It may be in a long time. Both you and Southern Naz were doing a great job defensively. It's just everybody was hitting shots that day.
Well, I don't know if we were doing a great job. Great's a pretty good word, but we felt like that we defended pretty well at times, and they still hit difficult shots. And I mean, they're, Jonathan Dunn, Micah Spate are probably the two best guards in the league. And the bad thing is they're on the same team. And they hit very, very difficult shots. They hit very, very timely shots as well. And then they added a third player in that we did not play against the first time we played them, in Tyler Williams, who didn't miss a shot the other night, and like you said, hit the kind of the miraculous corner shot with a second or so left on the shot clock. And whenever that happens, in that shot, we were right there, and we were right there a few times with them, and they hit shots, but we also. We also didn't rotate sometimes and let them go to the basket whenever we shouldn't have, and unfortunately, we shot the ball extremely well. I think we ended up shooting 62% in the first half and maybe 60% for the game, and then you lose and you think, well, how in the heck did that happen? But one reason it happens, we gave up 7 offensive rebounds in the first half. We allowed 2 guys who were averaging 5 points for them to get 12. And when you do, or no, I think they got maybe 15. But when you allow those things to happen, then consequently you may not win the game.
Kind of going on your point, and we've talked the last couple of weeks about just how good this conference is, top to bottom, and the fact that you need a little help now over the next 3 weeks. Obviously, you can't control those things, but I would think that given what happened this past Saturday in the league with Southwestern beating Oklahoma Baptist and Northwestern beating East Central at home, that it does open up, at least mentally, a little bit of hope that maybe things do play out. Maybe you get that help you need down the road.
Well, you don't know, and you can't worry about that. If we do, then you're spending a lot of time worrying about things that you can't control. And what we can control is the work that we do and the preparation that we do between now and our next game. And I think that's the most important thing that we must do, and not worry about what else is happening around the league. Going back though, that the league is so balanced, and even though records may not be as balanced, towards the bottom of the league to the top of the league, everything in the middle is there's one game here, one game there. I mean, it's very feasible to go from first or second, with, what do we have, 6 games left, I believe, and if you don't fare very well in those 6 games, to go from first or second to 7th, 8th, and possibly even 9th.
Of course, get you out of here on this, even though it came in a losing effort. Kellen Manick, another season high performance, really dominating performance on the inside as far as his shooting. I know that last year we talked about the fact he was really just kind of getting back into basketball shape. How pleased have you been with the work Kellen has put in this season? It's obviously showing in the stat sheet every night.
Well, I think one thing he did this past summer is he got out and ran a lot, and physically he feels better about himself. This is the first time he's played back-to-back years since high school, so I think we're starting to see reap some of the rewards. He's reaping the rewards of that, and we're understanding a little bit more about what he can and cannot do, and trying to put him in those situations. And then he's really, he's accepting that. And I mean, you give him the credit. I mean, he's worked hard in the weight room. He's gotten stronger there. Physically, he's moving better, even though he's not the greatest of movers. We all know that, and Kellen would say that. He would be the first to say that.
I have seen him, though, put a move or two so far this season. We certainly didn't see a year ago.
Yeah, well,
I don't think it's always in his repertoire.
No, and Kellen, again, the great thing about Kellen, he would be the first to admit. But, he's a smart player. He's tough. He knows how to play the game, and there's a lot to be said for that.
Again, talking with Coach Kelly Green. Coming up on Inside Southeastern Sports, we turn to our men's basketball spotlight. Kayo Goncalves coming up next on Inside Southeastern Sports. Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Sports. Time now for our men's basketball spotlight. And it shined today on forward Kayo Goncalves. Kayo, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So you've had an interesting trek to get to Southeastern. Let's kind of start with that story. You begin in Brazil. You end up in Midland, Texas, Midland Junior College, and then here to Southeastern. But I understand it was just kind of happen chance that you ended up at Midland to begin with.
Yes, it was kind of like a weird and funny story. It all happened because the athletic director of Midland College went to vacations in my hometown in Brazil, and he wanted to check a couple of the basketball games there, and he actually saw me playing and liked me, and whenever he went back to the school, he talked to the basketball coach about me, and then things just kind of happened.
From there and growing up in Brazil, did you have, I mean, obviously you played the game, but did you have a goal of getting into the United States and playing basketball? Was that ever anything on your radar?
I mean, just like every kid's dream, you're playing to get to the highest level, and the NBA is the highest level in basketball in the world. So, yes, I had the dream to one day come to, play in the NBA, but I never thought about coming to college basketball first before I got the offer.
When you talk about the NBA and being so big, who was your favorite player growing up as a kid?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I have so many favorite players.
You can throw out two or three. I mean,
yeah.
I'm just kind of interested of who's kind of sticks in your mind as far as that goes.
Definitely Kobe Bryant is one of my favorite players just because the way he approached the whole game and his mentality and the way of, pursuing his goal to be the best and practicing huge amounts of time. And Kyle Cover is one of also my favorite players just because the way that he shoots the ball, and he doesn't do much. He actually just shoots the ball very, very well. He does one thing very well, and I found that very interesting.
One of the things that I've noticed about this year versus last year, and even in this, we did something similar to this a year ago. You're a little bit shy. This year, I can tell you're a lot more confident. On the basketball court a year ago, kind of came off 6th, 7th man, at times a little bit shy. This year, obviously, a starter and a lot more confident. What's it been like being able to kind of get settled here in Durant? How much has that helped you develop more friends, develop on the basketball court as a better basketball player?
I think settling in the city and be able to make more friends, be more used to the city and to the culture here. Actually, that helps a lot in the basketball court as well because a lot of people don't realize, but outside of the court, influences how they play inside the court. Things that happens, in your daily life is going to influence you on the court, the amount of food that you eat, your diet, your sleep, and even your mood, your emotions, friends, everything. So, be able to settle here and be more part of the community also helps a lot in the basketball court. One
of the things that I've noticed about this men's basketball team, you guys, you get along great. It seems like you are a bunch of brothers. For guys like Buckingham and Manic, their family's not too far away. Your family's still in Brazil. How important is it for you personally to have the team kind of be like your brothers in this situation with your family being so far away?
I think that's actually very, very important to me and for all the international guys, I think, because you're away from your family, you're away from everyone that you get used to. And whenever I came here, we have guys like Buckingham, Adam, Tori, all the guys, they just kind of brings you into part of their families. I spent Thanksgiving with Kevin multiple times. Adam went to his home. I know all their families, and they really kind of bring me in as well as a part of one of them.
Now, I understand finances is something that you're working on, and we may discuss that at a later time, but for you personally, you talked about the goal of playing professional basketball. Obviously, you've got the NBA here, but you have the developmental league, and then obviously professional basketball in Brazil. Do you see that as something that you're definitely going to attempt before you make that step into a professional career? Do you see yourself taking a shot at professional sports?
Yes, that's actually one of my main goals right now. Is after I got done playing college basketball, try to go to the professional leagues, either here in the United States or in Europe. I don't see myself going back to Brazil and playing there, just because I don't think the league there is very good right now. So I'm definitely gonna attempt a shot over here in Europe before going to, use my degree as to work.
Again, talking with Kayo Goncalves, of course, a standout three-point shooter and forward for Southeastern Oklahoma State. Thanks, Kayo, for taking the time to join us. Be sure to follow along with all of Southeastern sports on Facebook at the Go Southeastern Facebook page, or just go to GoSoutheastern.com. Till next week, I'm Jay Lindly. So long, everybody.